Hey everyone, we're back with our first new video in quite some time.
It has been a while since we've been in front of the camera, so hopefully we remember how to do it.
And we have a great topic today, which is something that every RVer, full-time or part-time, has to deal with sooner or later, and that's maintenance.
And the existing situation of taking your RV in for service at a dealer can be extremely frustrating, especially if the problem that you have prevents you from moving the RV from where you are.
So we've all had that experience, especially when we're traveling, where we don't know where to find someone who can fix what's wrong with our RV, and maybe we can't even move our rig. Maybe the local shop in the area we're in is booked solid and can't get us in for weeks or months. Today, we are going to talk with our dear friend Heath Padgett about this brilliant concept he's come up with to solve this problem and also address the issue of pre-purchase inspections for an RV you might be considering buying. Hey, Heath.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. Thanks for dusting off the camera.
It was coded. It was deep.
It's great to see you. And I want to mention we are in very far-flung time zones. Where are we finding you right now?
Currently in Italy, our favorite place to travel with you guys and an RV, basically.
Yeah, for those who aren't aware, that our first international trip with anyone else was with you and Alyssa and 4-month-old Ellie years ago in Italy.
You taught me how to drive a manual RV in the parking lot of a Venetian grocery store right before we drove into the Italian Dolomites. We make it like 45 minutes and I stall out on a mountain as we're going uphill and you have to run to the RV because I downed. Anyway, a story for another day, but
I will never forget how big your eyes were when you showed up at the driver's window
and said, I need help.
Help.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of help, it's a perfect segue into talking about this thing you've created. And maybe you can kind of give our viewers a little bit of an overview as to what RV Help is.
Yes. I mean, Alyssa and I were full-time for 5 or 6 years, which when I'm speaking to John and Peter of RVgeeks, I know is like a fraction, maybe 20% of the time that you guys were on the road. But there were so many situations and times where we were living in it and something broke and we needed, the only people we could take it to was a nearby dealer, and we'd go there. And essentially we'd end up in a situation where we have to either leave it or when and we'd have to figure out where we're going to go. We're going to get a hotel. We're going to go see family. And a lot of times, like, there was continued frustration after, because like we'd call a couple weeks later. Have you looked at it? Like, what's going on? And so this happened over and over again, the years. And so, what we're really building with RV Help is a way to get service faster, by leveraging the hundreds, the thousands of mobile RV service providers who are out there, and who are small business owners. So yeah, you don't have to take your RV into a dealership and wait for 2 or 3 months at a time. You don't have to unhook. You can find somebody who's going to be trusted and nearby who can come and help you and take care of you. And so, yeah, there's a lot more there, but that's kind of the general premise. Is like, this was a big pain point for us traveling an RV for several years. And so to build a solution where instead of having to take your RV in, or, you know, if you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no dealerships around, like, what do you do? To be able to have an app that you can go to and just easily find nearby trusted providers is really the goal.
I know a lot of people think about difficulty finding service as being something that's a full-timers issue, because we don't have a set home where we have our local RV dealer or repair shop. But by definition, people who own RVs who part-time in them travel to places away from home. So it sounds like RV Help is ideal for them too. It's not just for full-timers.
Well, I mean, if you have if you have a person that you go to and it's like, this is my guy, and every time we go to Florida for the winter, and he's always going to be able to fix my stuff, and I'll have a tick list. Like, if you have that scenario, that's great. But if you travel out of that market, you may not know who the best providers are in that area. And so with RV Help, our app that we have, you can favorite good technicians and good providers nearby, but you can also filter and search like, hey, I need to find people who are certified with an aqua hot water
Oh,
system
yeah.
or lipid components or whatever, and be able to look at the reviews and find out, who could come out and fix your problem. Like we had an issue one time traveling in, like we had left Texas, we were going to Colorado, and we were out in Amarillo, and our slide out got stuck, and we were in this crazy campground. It was like one of the campgrounds, like we didn't really look at the reviews, so it was like dogs running around barking. It was like more of like a mobile home park, and it was just like I was ready to go and get out of there, and we called somebody to come out and take a look at it, and it was just this guy who kind of showed up and, like, I just say not very presentable, like he couldn't fix the problem, wasn't very helpful, charged us an arm and a leg for service. And so, like, talking to a lot of other RVers, there's also this kind of quality control item where mobile technicians, like, you may have had a great experience or you may not have. But there's a really great training academy in Texas called the National RV Training Academy. And over the last several years, they've been training a lot of really great third-party RV inspectors as well as mobile techs. And so they do hands-on training. They've got a 20,000 square foot facility there, amazing instructors, and they're really learning the ins and outs of how to take care of all the different components on an RV. And so part of what we're also trying to do is showcase providers who are certified, who have experience, and who are actually going to be able to take care of you when they come out and help, because anybody could kind of raise their hand and say, I'm a mobile RV tech. And it's like, okay, well, are you, so like, what makes you that? And so that's really what we're trying to do.
And so is that a component of RV Help as well? The fact that you now are able to surface what these people's credentials are for being a mobile tech?
Yeah. So on their profiles on RV Help, you can see what their certification level is. So they could be a registered tech, which basically means you've went through an introductory level course. You can be certified tech, which means you've went 5 weeks on-site training in person, and then you could do additional classes on top of that for solar and for other specific components if you want to go deeper. And then also there's master technician. So part of it's also educating, like, RVers, because a lot of RVers don't know they may not have heard of the RV Technicians Association or the National RV Inspectors Association. So part of it's also sharing there's a large value in a certification body to create more trust with this demographic. Because part of the problem is, like, we did a survey in the winter and we asked 400 RVers. We said, what's the biggest problem you have with service? Everyone says wait times. Like, if I actually call, like, wait times and finding good people to come out and fix my stuff that I can know and trust. And so those are really the things that we're trying to work on solving. It's like, why should you have to wait 2 or 3 months to get your RV fixed? Like, why should you miss an entire camping season and not be able to go have experiences with your family because all the dealerships are packed and they can't get to you for 2 months? Like, that's ridiculous. And so to me, those are the real things that we're working on solving.
Yeah, that's great. Now, we are aware, of course, that you have created different systems to create solutions for RVers before.
This isn't your first rodeo.
This is not your first time around with seeing a need that wasn't being addressed in the RV industry. For those who don't know, Heath created the RV Entrepreneur podcast, and which we were in episode 27, if I remember.
You guys are early. Yeah.
And we were discussing whether or not that was how we actually met you, was if you reached out to us to do the podcast, and because we remember meeting, but remember the when.
And of course, the RV Entrepreneur Summit went along with that. And that was a way for working RVers to learn about how to run a business from the road. And that's something you created. And then when you saw a need for a better booking engine to reserve campsites, you created
Campground Booking. Yeah.
I figured I would let you plug it.
Yeah. I mean, So we built that and then sold it after 5 years. But
so you're someone who has great ideas about how to identify a problem and then how to solve it. So on the RV Help side, this is currently RV Help is a website, but you have an app that's about to come out. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. So basically, if you go to rvhelp.com today, you'll be able to find nearby certified RV service providers who can help you. So we have over 900 verified providers, and we just went live in January. So as a service, we're not even 3 months old yet. But we have a lot of people using the site right now. We're partnered with the RV Technicians Association of America and also the National RV Inspectors Association. So basically, after people go to the NRVTA training school in Texas, they join our site. We show their credentials. People can review them. You can filter based on exactly what you're looking for. You can favorite providers if you want to come back to them later and reach out to them. And then, yeah, that's currently what the website is today. And then our mobile app is coming out. So by the time this interview goes live, we'll have a mobile app that you can download as well. So the idea is having something in your pocket that no matter where you go, you can find great trusted providers nearby who can come and help you. And there's a lot of other things we're going to add on top of that, like being able to get virtual diagnostic help, some preventative tips, maintenance reminders for your RV, and things that will be coming. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was going to say, so from the perspective of having, mobile techs, obviously, yes, they can come to you, but if you're going to then have the ability to do some, sort of remote troubleshooting, which could prevent the need for them to even come to you at all if they can actually get it solved with you over the phone.
Totally. And a lot of mobile techs will do a free diagnostic with you as well. So a lot of techs, like mobile techs, they don't want you to have to spend $200 for their, like a lot of dispatch fees might be $100 or so. And then the hourly rate on top of that, obviously their time is valuable and they don't want to waste it either. So a lot of times, mobile techs, if you call them and say, I've got this problem, they say, hey, I'll try to help you see if it's something easy. If it's a fuse or something and it takes a few minutes, they might help you. And, as a piece of goodwill, you could go leave them a review on RV Help and just say, thank you so much. You're amazing. Like next time I need somebody, I'll give you a call.
Sure.
But if it's a deeper problem, we're going to offer kind of a full virtual diagnostic service where we can do a video call with a certified tech. Because the idea is like 40% or so more of issues you can probably solve. It might just be like a fuse or some type of item that is easily fixed. And then if we can't solve it, we'll get you connected with somebody who can come out.
And that could certainly be great too, just to get you on your way. So, like the scenario you talked about, you're in a campground, you want to leave and your slide is the problem. Yeah. Okay.
A tech who might be a long distance away could talk you through the things to try.
Yeah. And since the RV manufacturers don't generally have great direct end user customer service, their customer is the dealer. We're the end user who sort of gets left in the dust because they expect we're going to go to the dealer to get work.
What impressed us when you told us about this idea and then we looked at how you were implementing it, that basically someone gets three really important pieces of information that I don't think were very well available before. It's geography based. So when a tech puts their location in, they can put a radius of how far they're willing to travel. Is that right?
Correct.
And so they'll see a geographical location of a tech. They'll see the certifications of the tech. And they'll also see right on RV Help, they'll also see reviews from other people who have done business with them. So they're getting all this information that wasn't readily available in one place before.
Yeah, and I think a big one is the location. So a lot of all the providers that we have listed out for the most part they're all mobile, so they'll come to you. But some of them are working on having shops and things like that, but for the most part they're all mobile. And a lot of them are also traveling as well, meaning like they're actually RVers too. And so their location, they may service 2 or 3 service areas throughout the year, and they're changing their location as they go. And you guys have done a lot of work with SEO and Google. Google doesn't really play well with RVers and addresses that are changing. So that's a big so in other words, there actually might be providers in your backyard or at a campground nearby that if you Google search RV service near me, they're not going to come up because their location has just changed. They may have moved from one service market to the next. And so with RV Help, they're able to change their location as they move throughout the country. So some of the only places you're going to be able to find different techs nearby is actually through using a platform like ours, where you can actually see, hey, who's nearby me and who's updated their address. And we're building in features so that they can forecast out their locations and say, hey, I'm currently in Texas, but I'm going to be traveling to Montana in the next 2 weeks. So allowing them to pre-book services and things like that.
That's fantastic.
So
from the mobile tech perspective, right? Because obviously the success of this platform for us as end users looking to get our RVs repaired is going to be that it's a successful platform for the mobile techs. And for them to be able to have all those features that currently don't exist in any other way means that it encourages them to sign up with the platform, which means there's more options for me to choose from. All good, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's the whole chicken and egg item with any kind of marketplace. It's like, we're trying to drive a lot of recognition and people to RV Help so that leads are coming in, and that makes it valuable for providers. And so it's definitely a hard, like they call it the cold start problem, not to get too into the business side of things, but it's like, how do you start something and move it kind of quickly? And that's why a partnership with the training school that had these locators going on before we kind of came into the picture was so great, because there was a base of like really great business owners and service providers there who were now able to start working with. So yeah, the idea is drive, also not just supporting RVers, but driving business to small business owners. So I think that's another choice, like a big thing as well for a lot of RVers. Like Harvest Host has been amazing because it supports small business owners. And if you go to RV, like you can go to a dealership that's, you know, corporately owned and all this, or you could find somebody who is really good at what they do and they have a lot of reviews, and, you know, they're a hardworking small business owner, and your money is going to go a really long way. And they're going to come to your campsite and fix your stuff or your house. To me, it's like, why would you take it somewhere where you have to wait 2 months to get it fixed when you can have somebody come to you and take care of you? Like, it just feels like a no-brainer.
It is totally.
And particularly for, as you know, having been full-timers for 20 years, we know the pain as a full-timer of going to a shop. And when we would be in some random location around North America in our rig, if we had a problem, the only way in the past that we could find someone to fix something that we couldn't fix ourselves was to find a local dealer. And if we weren't able to move the RV, that's obviously a problem. Or if they're booked up, that's a problem. And certainly for full-timers, one of the biggest nuisances is
early morning appointments.
Yeah, they tell us, we get there in the afternoon and they tell us that tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock, be ready to come into the shop. So we get up, you know, at 6, which is
bad for me. I am not a morning person.
Very early for most of us. And then when they haven't pulled the rig in at 11:30 or noon, and they take their lunch break.
Yeah,
that's a real hassle. And the option of finding somebody who could come to us and treat us personally one-on-one is something we didn't have.
No. Yeah, that was basically, we would have been limited to, like you said, searching on Google and hoping that there was an established mobile RV tech where we happened to be. But, you know, the odds of that at the time,
it's
you
not
know,
going to come
back
up.
when we were doing this was not that likely.
So we have about 920 verified service providers. A good majority of those are technicians. Some of those are just inspectors, but the majority are also technicians. And there's a whole code of ethics around inspection. So like once an inspector inspects an RV, they're not allowed to work on it for a period of time, so that they're not able to say, hey, you got all these problems, let me fix them. So that, I think that's a big part of the reason why it's great having an association partner who is creating a value of professionalism in the industry. But inspections were not something I ever really knew about. And they weren't really a thing back in like 2014 when we started RVing, or if they were, you know, they weren't, I didn't know about them. But we had so many we bought used and new RVs, Alyssa and I did. And there's so many things that can go wrong, like in that whole process. Like the first time I bought an RV, I called my grandpa because he was the only one I knew who had owned an RV. And I said, Papa, what do I need to look for? And he said, check all under the windows for any soft spots, check in all the cabinets for soft spots. Because basically that was the thing. He was like, you know, leaks, water damage, sort of. Yeah. But that's like one thing. And if you look at an inspector and a third-party inspector's punch list for what they do when they go to an RV, like it takes, first of all, several hours, and like the amount of stuff they find on even brand new units, because these units have to be driven off the lot from the manufacturer. So these RVs have been driven all the way across the country, and stuff breaks. I mean, it's like driving in gale force winds, and so there's a lot of people who are hiring inspectors for even brand new units, and they are finding a lot of damage on those units. And so sometimes dealerships don't like inspectors coming out. Sometimes they're grateful for it because people will still go forward with the purchase. But I'm a big fan in the value of that, because if you're buying something that's crazy expensive, like you wouldn't buy a house without getting it inspected. And I think the same definitely holds true for an RV. If you can get so many of these things figured out before you actually step into it, then it makes total sense.
Well, it's funny. We didn't really think about having a new RV inspected by an independent inspector until last year when we bought our new travel trailer from Outdoors RV. Now, we did not have an external inspection done by an independent inspector, but when we went to pick our rig up, there was one there who was inspecting a couple of brand new rigs. And we asked about that, and he said, oh yeah, it's very common that people want to have a brand new rig inspected first. And if we had known that when we picked up our rig in 2005, our motorhome, it would have been very helpful, because we bought from a pretty poor dealer, and there was a lot wrong when we picked it up, and it was brand new right off the assembly line.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and again, think about it. So many people who are buying an RV are traveling to go get it. So it's not like you're just going down, typically not going down
Right.
to your local RV dealer. They're not probably going to have the exact make, model, floor plan that you want. So you're shopping on RV Trader or looking online at,
RVT or and
Facebook Marketplace, wherever you're going to find it. It could be 3,000 miles or more away. Being able to hire an inspector to go look at it before you even hop on a plane is a huge advantage. So again, something that RV Help can help with if you're out shopping for an RV, whether it's new or used.
Heath, the area that's currently covered, how many states? And also because we are in Canada, we're currently
Coming to you live.
We're coming to you from
Yeah.
Vancouver, BC, and we have about 10% of our audience, just like 10% of the population, is Canadian versus US. And we know that you're just kind of getting to get some inspectors in Canada. We know that's hopefully going to spread, but how wide is your network of techs and inspectors right now?
So it changes a little bit because a lot of it, as like our map currently, if you go to RV Help, it shows all of the different providers across the country. So right now we have coverage in most of the US. And so if there's a place where we don't have coverage, and in Canada, we're starting, like we have several providers up there. I'll give a shout out to Brian Carbonell, who's an amazing master certified tech who's up in Canada. So if you watch this, Brian, call Brian. Or if anybody watches this, call Brian because he'll take care of you.
Where is he in Canada, by the way? What province?
That's a great question. I will send you his link because I'm not quite sure.
We'll throw it down below.
Okay. And so a lot of providers go south for the winter. So that's where a lot of the repair work is. And then they kind of float. They're starting to float up now into different, they're kind of their summer region markets and things like that. So it kind of changes. And that's part of a little bit of the value of RV Help is being able to figure out where people are going and everything. But yeah, and if there's any region where we currently don't have anybody, we have a field, like a form that you can fill out on the site for a service request, and we'll connect you and send that out to providers manually because it'll basically expand the service area. So even if we don't have coverage in the area, a lot of times we can find providers who are willing to drive out to a particular area.
Yeah.
So when we went full time in 2003, to give you an idea how long ago that was, it was 4 years before the iPhone was invented. So this
or at least released.
So this gives you an idea how difficult it was in the beginning. Navigation, finding RV parks, every aspect of rooting ourselves, finding repairs, how to get repairs done there. Everything was a challenge. And as things continue to move forward with technology, it becomes easier and easier. It's easier to find places to boondock now, campgrounds to stay at, any service that you might want. And this seems like you figured out one of the last vestiges of really difficult challenges for RVers is to find who can work on their RV or who can do an inspection for them. How did you come up with this, like as a third thing in a row that you've just brainstormed?
I'm picturing it happening over gelato.
Yeah, I'm thinking that.
I mean, I think to me, this isn't like a brilliant idea. Like there's, from my end, it's kind of just paying attention. There's so many, I've seen, first of all, I followed the success of the NRVTA in Texas, and I've known some of the owners, Mr. Terry Cooper for a long time, like 8 years. And there's also a guy named Steve Anderson, who is a co-owner in that, who started Work Camper News. And so I've been familiar with him, and I've known Cooper for a long time. So I watched and paid attention to what was happening and seeing like how many people were coming out of this school and recognizing like the bottleneck for most industries is like the people. Like people would rather go work behind a computer and get paid 40 grand a year to work in like a marketing role, entry level, than go turn wrenches. And what the school in Texas has done is there's a different pitch here, which is not I'm going to work at a dealership. It's how to be your own boss and run your own business effectively by being a good service provider. And so seeing all of these inspectors and technicians come online was inspiring for me. And it's kind of where I also saw a big opportunity is that more people should know that, first of all, you can go get a third-party inspection, but also that there's all these mobile technicians out there who are going to do a great job, and they can do a great job of taking care of you. And by the way, 70% of the things that break on your RV can be fixed through a mobile RV tech. And so there's a great option when you're thinking about where to take your RV to get service, and the fact that you don't have to take it anywhere and that you could have somebody come and fix it. So I would just say this was a pain point for me. It's why I'm excited to work on solving it. And you talked about the RV Entrepreneur Summit earlier, and like getting to gather around all these people who are running a business. For me, that was always inspiring, because like 10 years ago when we got on the road, we didn't know how we were going to make it work. But then we got to travel the country, go to all these cool national parks, make this great life together. And how we did that was creating a business that supported us while we traveled. And really, with RV help, that's a big part of the goal too, is like we have all these RVers who are now certified RV techs and inspectors who are traveling across the country trying to do something similar. Like they're trying to have a great life, get to see the country, and make money by helping people. And so in my mind, I'm like, that's a great mission. Like we can help support the small business owners who are trying to do good and be helpful for people's RVs, and also solve a problem for the RVer.
That is awesome. I hadn't really thought that much about the fact that being a mobile RV technician, we normally think of that as a guy with, knowledge, of course, but a van full of tools who can drive to wherever you happen to be located and repair your rig. It didn't
think of him living out of the van.
I didn't think about the fact that that's one of the perfect jobs for a nomadic entrepreneur to have, which is, as you travel around full time in your RV, to use your skills and tools and experience as a technician to do inspections and repair and maintenance work on RVs like that. I hadn't even thought about how perfect that is for a full timer.
Yeah, they're mobile squared. There's a mobile tech who's
totally
mobile.
Yeah, I honestly have trouble describing, because I feel like when I'm talking to people who are not in the RV space, I say it's mobile. Look, there's a lot of mobile techs, and I was like, but there's also a lot of traveling mobile techs. So they're still mobile to come to you, but they're also full-time RVers. So maybe that's the nuance difference.
People who know our channel and our blog know that we are very much DIYers, and kind of took a basic level of being handy and learned more and more to become pretty self-sufficient. But we still can't fix everything on our rig. We've never had any formal training, and that means we come up against a roadblock sometimes with our rig that we couldn't fix it. And it was always a major thing. And I don't think in 20 years, because we were full-time and didn't know how to find a mobile technician, I think we always ended up at dealerships, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And had
nightmare experiences.
Well, we had, I don't want to bash.
That's just because I had to get up early. I mean, anything that involves me getting up early is a nightmare from the beginning. So,
and I'm not, by saying that, we don't mean to bash RV dealerships specifically.
No, they have a difficult life
but
too.
There are RV dealerships that we have had poor experiences with. And if we had a rating system, or I think dealing with somebody one-on-one who's just a person who comes to you,
who cares?
It's a lot more caring experience than dealing with, the service writer at the shop, and they take your rig in. You don't know who's working on it. You don't know what's going on. You have no personal connection with them. And the discussions that we've heard from other people who work directly with someone who came to them, it's more like a friend who has knowledge coming over and fixing your rig for you.
Yeah.
And I love what you put together here, that you figured out how to put a platform together and use technology to join technicians with the people who need them. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I'm going to call it genius, Heath.
Well, to me, it's like, I hope that it's useful for RVers, and I believe it will be, and it already is. And I also, like, to me, it's the providers that we're bringing on that are really going to make the platform what it's going to be. And that's our primary focus right now, is helping support providers to come on the platform, working to try to help them be successful, working to try to drive them business, and be good partners, because ultimately without really good trusted providers, like, we don't have a network, there's no RV help. And so I'm grateful to be a facilitator of that, and trying to make it something that will be helpful for people, so they don't have to spend into their camping season with their RV sitting in a service shop.
Do you mind if I ask about the business side of RV help? I'm going to assume that there has to be some way that as a business it's monetized. Is there a fee for an RVer to sign up to? Do they have to pay a monthly or annual fee, or do technicians have to pay? Do you mind if I ask how that works?
Sure. Yeah, so it's completely free for for technicians and service providers. So they pay nothing to be on RV Help. And it's also free to go look at listings, to use the platform to find people. It's currently free across the board right now. So I don't recommend that as a business model long term. It's not the plan for us either. So we're working on testing some paid membership offerings. But that will be in addition to the core platform, which is helping you find good providers nearby. So that is free. It will remain free. And what we will do is add other things that people find useful. So a lot of what we're going to be doing is testing offerings for RVers and saying, hey, glad you find this free app and site useful. Would it be helpful if we had some certified techs on our team that could answer calls remotely? Would it be helpful if we, got some discounts from our providers so that you could save on service when you have appointments and things like that? And so that's the next step for us, is to put something together that is a useful kind of premium tier for RV Help for RVers. But anyone can still go use the site at no cost to them to find great providers nearby.
That's a fantastic business model for providers and for RVers. Not yet for you, but I hear what you're doing. You're building it out, and you're adding options, and you're creating something of value for everyone that'll allow you to benefit from that financially going forward as you create new things for it.
To me, I have so much conviction that this needs to exist. Like, I really do. And there's so many different levers that you can pull on. Like, there's a saying I've heard from people. It's kind of like a silly one. Maybe it's like a country saying, but like, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And to me, like, that's a frame around like trying to make money in too many different ways. Like, to me, this service needs to exist. It's going to be really useful for RVers. It already is. And it's going to be really useful for helping, empower and send business to a lot of different small businesses. Right. And so in my mind, like, I know we will find a lever to make it a win for RVers, for service providers, and for us in a way that people are still feel excited and good about. And a big inspiration for me are platforms like Harvest Host. Like, Joel Holland is a good friend of mine. And I remember in COVID, like after COVID years, shortly, like him and I will go do annual trips to like wineries in our RV together. And I remember in particular, like, it was not too long after COVID, we're at a winery in Colorado, and the owner is hanging out with us in the evening, and they like literally brought out their financial books, and they said, we would not have made it if it wasn't for Harvest Host. Like, we wouldn't have been able to sustain. And I just remember thinking that was such a powerful thing, and to operate a business that RVers use it, like, love it. And if you use it a couple times a year, it pays for itself. You have great experiences. And also it supports small business owners, and it sends them a ton of business. And to me, that's been the frame for RV Help all along, which is like, how can we make something that if you use it a couple times a year, you're like, I'm so happy to have RV Help. It's so good, pays for itself. And it's also supporting a lot of small business owners who were, helping to create thriving businesses. So that's the frame that I'm kind of approaching this.
When we first heard from you that you were creating this, our first conversation included,
why didn't we think of that? No.
What it was really like, if only we had a time machine and we could go back and think of that, because it was one of those,
aha moments
where this thing had never had a solution, and we were excited. And
for you,
we're excited to be sharing this with our audience, because this is a real problem that has never had a solution like this before. And that's why we keep using the term brilliant. It's a really smart way to harness technology to solve real problems that RVers have. We appreciate the fact that you put it together.
And I hope it is immensely successful, because it's going to make everyone's lives better in the long run, right? If more people stay in their RVs because they're not hitting those obstacles of maintenance being such a problem, then it encourages more RV parks to be built. It just keeps the industry flowing, which is good for all of us.
Agreed.
You've done a wonderful thing here.
Yeah.
We're working on it. So thank you guys for helping us share and get the word out. And if you have any questions, feel free, anybody watching this, reach out. If you've made it this far and listening to me talk, I'll share my contact information with everybody. But if you have a problem on your RV, go use the site. I'd love any feedback that you have. Review your providers. And so, excited, and thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, pleasure. Heath. And we'll, of course, put links in the video description below. We're also going to be putting a blog post out about this. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the correct URL to go to take advantage of Heath's site, whether you are a technician who's looking for additional opportunities to help RVers, or whether you're an RVer who wants to make sure that when you have a problem, or if you have a problem, I shouldn't say it's inevitable.
Oh, it is.
That you need solved, or you're thinking about buying an RV and you want to find a technician, go to rvhelp.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube versus on our blog, make sure you go over to the rvgeeks.com to read our text content on all sorts of RV topics. We have over 800 original articles that we've written over many years about every possible aspect of RVing. We hope will provide more information that you can fix things yourself a little bit.
Even if it's just to identify what actually is wrong, so you know what to tell the tech when you call them.
There you go. Congratulations on the launch of RV
Yes.
Help. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time. I know it's late there in Italy. And
Thank you, guys.
We're very jealous. We're going to come have gelato and pizza with you.
Sounds good.
Great. Thanks so
Thanks
much.
so much, Heath.
Bye.